for another session of live readings. Okay, so this is how this works. We join here live, and for those that are here viewing, we are able to tap into a collective field. And again, I apologize for the cicadas. I am moving next week, and so that will not be a part of our soundtrack anymore. Um, but this is how it works with the live readings, is that we're able to create a collective energy field where all of us can share and exchange information with the foundation and the intention of healing and self-regeneration. So what that means is that, hi Shalise, welcome my love. What that means is that we are all going to be here grounding in our pure essence, grounding in our true authentic nature, and setting ourselves on a, let's say, just like a freedom release. Hi Dee Dee. On a freedom release to be able to surrender again to our true authentic nature by letting go of all things that are not us, any energies that we've picked up from other lifetimes, from other parallel realities, from the dream state, and maybe just from people at the coffee shop. Keep it real simple. But there is permission here to let your hair down, come as you are, be as you are, take off the mask, let go of the facade, break down the guards and barriers. You are in your own safe cocoon with your own intention, allowing yourself to be seen by you as you truly are. Hi Megan, welcome love. So as we start on this journey today, I got an insight as I was doing my morning routine and journaling and drinking some lovely cacao. I have this brother from Argentina here in Bali who makes the most sacred, most magical cacao. What this cacao has done for my heart since I started drinking it in July, every new moon, every full moon, my goodness, it's been so profound. So I'm here, I've got that medicine. So we've got the influence of beautiful medicine man from Argentina. We've got medicine from cacao. I'm feeling super vibrant, a little bit sniffly today, but luckily we're not in the same zone, so my sniffles won't be contagious unless it's an energetic shift, which it might be. Either way, let's go ahead and set the intention, set the prayer. I do have one friend and former client that will not be able to be here. Oh, hello, welcome. From Australia, wanting to try cacao. Yeah, it's a strong, strong, strong medicine from the earth. It's beautifully heart opening. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start with the prayer, and then I'm going to start by doing a reading with Grace. And then what I also wanted to share, I've said this before, so if you've been here before, you know, but even if I don't say your name, the way that I set these readings for is that the readings and the intention of what is coming up for that specific person is also for the collective. So we will all have a very powerful connection. We'll all have a very powerful insight, and we'll all have a very powerful realization for what comes through. So we use the one person as an example, but I believe that we are all here at exactly the right time to tap into that, what I like to call the thread of relatability. And that thread of relatability is that one thing that connects us all together. It's the through line. And so that's how I believe these sessions work, is that we connect into that. You all set your clear intentions of what you want to receive out of this. What limiting beliefs do you want to break down? Where do you want to see more abundance in your life? How do you want to experience more love? Whatever your intention is, go ahead and set that now as I say the prayer, because as we say the prayer, we're creating that container for all of us to be very, very present in this here and now moment with ourselves and with each other. Beautiful. So, as we call in divine truth and love into this sacred space, we invoke the highest possible healing for each and every viewer, replayer, and myself. We ask for the courage and compassion to speak and to hear from the purest form of self-love and forgiveness to all involved. Io onai ua poha ka ana susu unu upu ku uaha. I kanai I su tunu uaha a ka aniawa. Opu tunaya a tanai. I ua tanai, I ua tanai, I ua tanai. I sanai, I kuapu u kuaha aka. I sanai, I kuotu u kuaha apa. Atanai I ha'a sisi I tu ukunai ha'a kapu ua. Sayana iakoa ha'a ka ua ukua puana ha'aya. Sayana. Sai sanaya uapua ha'a ka anai I kua. Hi Anissa, welcome love. So feeling into that space. Feeling into the expanded excitement within your own heart. And notice where you have any resistance in your body. Simply identify it and send some love there. Say, hello, I see you. I feel you. You are welcome to be present. You are welcome to be loved. And often, even just when you say that, the resistance softens. Remembering that acknowledgement and attention is oftentimes the easiest thing that will break down big, giant walls. So, let's go ahead and tune into Miss Grace. All right, so Grace, I am seeing a very interesting image. I'm seeing where half of you, it's like you're split in half, but split in half diagonally, and it's like that half of you is actually getting a lot of light energy coming your way, and as that light energy is coming your way, it's like pulling you. It's actually trying to pull you out of, it looks like really thick, heavy, dark energy, and it looks like thick, heavy, dark energy from the past. But what I'm seeing is that there's really, really thick resistance. It's egoic unwillingness to surrender to the light. It's egoic unwillingness to really actually allow yourself to be moved by the intentions of your pure authentic nature. And so your true authentic nature is actually of origin in the light energies. That's where we've all come from. Our natural state is joy. Our natural state is pleasure. Our natural state is kindness, enthusiasm. That is our natural state. And so these light frequencies are calling you in. And I am seeing that this is a theme for a lot of us in this world right now, is that there's a lot of intention of dark energies, of chaotic energies, of drama energies that want to pull us back and pull us back and pull us back. And it's so important for us to stay focused, stay so clearly focused on the intention that we're moving forward. And so clearly focused on the intention that we are stepping into the birthright of our true divine potential, and that we are really acknowledging and saying yes to our own light bodies. That's what really this is about. Grace, specifically with you, I see that it has to do with a lot of, it's like hard, concrete memories. I see that there's a lot of memories that are keeping you stuck or keeping you from being able to move forward. And so those memories hold energy. Those memories hold a frequency. And so it's up to you to be able to liberate yourself and say, those are experiences that have taken place in the past. They're not coming back, but there's a part of you that is living in the past, almost with like a hope that things will once be what they were, but they won't. Sorry, they won't. Let's just breathe into that for a moment. We have to acknowledge, even in this world, going back to the macro, that what we're experiencing here, hi Amy, welcome. What we're experiencing here is a really powerful global great awakening for those that can see that that is an available opportunity. every single human being on this planet right now has the opportunity and the availability to wake up faster than they ever have before, because the energy on this planet is actually more supportive to the illumination of your heart consciousness than it ever has been before. The reason for that is because the contrast is so extreme. That's what it is. As above, so below. As in dark, as in light. It's that the dark energies and the dark agendas that are going on this planet right now, with mind control and all sorts of other things, all of that is a frequency. All of that is an energy. So I'm here in Bali, and I have had quite a few friends that have left to go back to Sweden, that have gone back to Norway, that have gone back to France, that have gone back to these various places of going home, and then they come back. And they come back and they're like, there was such a thick, dense energy. Bali is in a bubble. There's such a thick, dense energy that you just couldn't quite shake. So that's what we're talking about. There's a frequency there. And that's why I feel passionate about doing what I'm doing, and why my guides have told me, like, hey, you need to stay in Bali, because you're able to broadcast a specific frequency because of where my body, as the antenna of light energy, is actually living and actually residing, that I have a clear channel and a clear connection to that light energy as a reminder. So it's not to say that I don't know what you are experiencing from wherever it is that you are in the world, and part of the fact of the matter is that I don't, because Spirit has brought me here to Bali. And I had a crazy life implosion. Everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. Literally everything that could have gone wrong in my life went wrong, and my entire life blew up. It was fucking horrible. Excuse my language, but it was terrible. And I believe it was to get me here to Bali, because I would not have come to Bali. I wouldn't have flown to the other side of the planet if my life was going well. I came here to rest, and then once everything started breaking down, I went, oh my God, I got a divine swoop. I got a pick-me-up to bring me here. And so I feel that I am gifted. I feel that I am blessed to be able to be in this frequency, have the vantage point that I have, to be able to continue to encourage all of us to raise our frequencies, to raise our awareness. It is to say, come with me, because the frequency is available to you no matter where you are on the planet. It just might be a little bit harder to find depending on where you are on the planet, but it is available to you. And so that's what we're here to that's what I'm here to remind you of. So as I look at this image and I see that there's half of Grace's body, yes, Robin, I'm happy to answer your light language question in just a moment. When I'm saying half of Grace's body, where light is, it's like it's coming down, it's like it's showering from an angle, but it's also coming down to pull, to illuminate. But the thing is, we have to use our free will to choose. It isn't just going to do it for us. And when we use our free will to choose that that's what we want for ourselves, something really extraordinary happens. The things that aren't aligned for us fall away. A lot of people don't want to do that, but this is what we're talking about with the memories, is that our lives, spoiler alert, I hope I'm not the first person to tell you this, but our lives are never going to be what they once were. Never. Never, never, never. We are not going back to normal. It doesn't exist anymore. We are moving through. We're moving through to the other side. We're moving on to something different. We're moving on to something greater. And so when we, as a conduits between realms, use our physical bodies to anchor light, to anchor these frequencies through our body from the higher realms, the fifth dimension is not somewhere not on this planet. The fifth dimension is on this planet. The fifth dimension is here with us. The seventh dimension, where angels and guides communicate with us. It is here with us. It is on this planet. It is not somewhere else. It is not somewhere like above where we think these things like exist elsewhere. They exist with us right here, right now. This physical body that you have is carbon-based DNA. It is paper thin. Paper thin. It feels heavy. It feels dense because we're in it. If you saw my recent Instagram video, I was a little bit more candid, speaking a little bit more freely of what it's like to like have these days where like, wow, I am really a human. I am really, I think my direct quote was, I am really in this bitch. I am not getting out. Okay, okay, I have these moments or I have these days sometimes where it's like it's so prevalent to me that this is a fleeting experience. That this human experience is a fleeting experience. It is a blip on the radar of my soul's expression. It is a blip on the radar of my soul's not experience, but evolution, life, capacity, all of it. This one life that we're living with, the one name, the identity that we get, it's a blip on the radar. So the best thing that we can do is recognize and acknowledge that our ego, our egoic consciousness, gets to choose to utilize free will. It gets to choose to utilize that we're stepping forward. It gets to choose to utilize, yeah, Gemma, you can relate? It's like that sometimes. You're like, I signed up for this for what, 100 years? Oh, like, holy moly. It gets a little cray down here sometimes. But there, yes. So we're moving forward. We're creating something new. We can't get stuck looking at the past. We can't get stuck wishing things that were what they once were. To be honest, they weren't that great. We think they were, but we didn't really know what else was possible. And so what else is possible that's coming through is this excitement for newness. Like, the new earth is not something that needs to be built. It is not something that needs to be constructed. It is not something that comes from the mind. It is a frequency to embody. That's how we experience heaven on earth. The kingdom of heaven is within. We get to experience these things here and here for us now that allows for the illumination of the Christed light that is within. And I don't want to apologize for using Christian vernacular. That was what I was raised, so that's what I know. But I know that there's a through line through all sorts of different religions and philosophies that bring us to an illumination that is frequency based. So when we get stuck on the vocabulary of what it was, God is a trigger word for so many people. Christ is a trigger word for so many people. It has been and was for me too. Like, I had to reassociate all sorts of things and go, okay, it's a frequency. Forgiveness is a frequency. Gratitude is a frequency. Unconditional love is a frequency. We're here, we're acknowledging the power and the beauty within our own selves in a powerful way. Robin, can you please retype your question about light language? I want to tap into that. I do talk a lot about it in a lot of my videos, but it's one of those things, light language, for me. So I've been a practicing professional psychic now for over 10 years. I'm 33. I started when I was about 21, 22, learning how to develop my psychic abilities. I was born a psychic. I was born a medium, so I had these extrasensory abilities. I tried to run away from them as fast and as hard as I could to make them go away because I associated them with craziness, lack of mental stability, because of who I saw embody them in my world. So I was like, nah, I don't want to do those things. But I noticed that I had a natural knack for leading transmissions and leading meditations almost immediately when I started developing my abilities. I was able to lead people through these experiences. So I started teaching people. There we go. Does light language really work? I'm feeling so different after listening to it, like actual changes. How does it make sense? Yes. Beautiful. So I started speaking light language in March of 2020. So it was recent. It was, I will say about 6 months before that, I had an experience where I was asleep, and I woke up in the morning and I sat up immediately. I'm like, who does that? And I started chanting, and I was chanting to me what sounded like a combination of like Native American chanting and Mandarin. I was working on a project with a lot of Chinese speakers. Um, in some cases, the only person who spoke English in the room. So I was around a lot of Mandarin. And so I was like, weird, maybe that was just a dream where I was like picking up on that. And then it was about, yeah, 6 months later that I had an experience where I watched a YouTube video actually that was on activating light language. And I don't think it needs to necessarily be that intention, because since I have started speaking it and I had a full 100% activation, I went from not speaking it at all, being like, oh, that's something those people do over there. Like, that's not my lane. I do the psychic thing, I do the channeling thing, I do okay. But I was curious. So within a matter of 10 minutes of watching that video, and I got a heads up, it was like, there's information coming through that you need to be able to receive and transmit. So, clear your space, clear your mind space, or something coming through. Within a matter of 10 minutes, I went full blown, full activation. All day, the rest of that day, I couldn't stop speaking. Like I got to a point where I had blisters, that my tongue was raw because I couldn't stop speaking it. It just like had to come out. So I just sat in my house and I was like, what is happening? It was so crazy. And then the next day I was scribing it, and I just like, again, hand couldn't stop moving. What I have learned is that with the 10 years of healing that I have had under my belt, and all of the experiences of doing bufo ceremonies and plant ceremonies and combo and drum circles and sound healing and Reiki and like you name it. I've been in this world for over 10 years, almost over a third of my life. And what I have learned with the light language is it is the fastest, the quickest, the most penetrable way to move through energy. It is the fastest way to remind you who you are. I have a video on here called, I think it's called Activate Your Magnetic Essence. And I talk about when I shifted my name from Samantha to Sitara. On that first day that I started speaking light language, it was very clear. It was like my name was Sitara. It was like, that's your name. It came through super clear. I don't usually get names. It's not usually how my channel comes through, but this one came through very clearly. And then I sat on it for like 10 months because I was like, am I really going to be this person that moves to this like spiritual community on Bali and then changes my name? And then I ended up helping a friend deliver a baby by another complete divine intention. And that's a whole other story, whole other tangent that I could share. I won't go into it right now. And through that process, I told them about the name, and it was like, okay, well, let's start calling you that. You just got to kind of do it. And when I started being called Sitara, every time I would hear it for like the first month, there was something inside of me that illuminated. There was something inside of me that like gave me chills. There was something inside of me that was like, this is truth. There's something here for me because I could feel it. It was a frequency. It wasn't necessarily something that I could make sense within my mind. But I knew that it had to do with the original essence of the soul presence. So when I changed from Samantha to Sitara, I was no longer resonating at Samantha, yet Sitara was still so new that I hadn't really connected with the frequency or the identity of Sitara yet. So I was walking in this space in between where, to me, all I could say that it was like the womb of it was the womb of no thing. It was the origin of all creation. It was that my egoic identity, right? Our name. You can take mom, cashier, blah, 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 channel, medium, whatever label you give yourself. You can take all those and like rearrange them. They change throughout your life, whatever. But you take your name and you change your name, which is like the identity that is so closely associated to you. It's like, it's that. And I realized that once I was no longer Samantha, because that name just doesn't resonate for me anymore. And it was very, very strange because I wasn't expecting it. It wasn't necessarily something that I chose I did, but I was also just kind of going and exploring with what was feeling right and natural at that time and in that moment. And through that curiosity and through that exploration, I realized that, my parents got it pretty close, but, two white people living in the middle of America in the 80s, why would they name their daughter Sitara? It's a Sanskrit word. So it was kind of funny. I was like, Samantha, they got it pretty close, but Sitara, like, really, it feels so resonant for me. So resonant. So I know I went a little bit on about the name, but that for me is like, you ask, well, where does the light language come from? For me, it comes from our soul. Yeah, you can listen to as many light languages as you want a day, an hour or two total. Yeah, when I first started listening, I was listening to quite a bit. You'll know when you hit the threshold. You'll know when you're like, okay, that's enough. Because the thing is that it does rearrange things inside of your body. The light language bypasses the egoic consciousness. So if I say, connect your root chakra to the center of the earth. And let's say for some reason you've decided to follow the flat earth stuff and you're like, well, there isn't a center of the earth. And like your mind starts creating all of this like reasons why you can't create a grounding cord. Light language bypasses all of that. And I'm talking, that's like the most simple example. Yeah, 15 minutes too much at first. Yep, sounds about right. Because your body starts acclimating to new frequencies. So for me, like doing these live transmissions are just as much for you as they are for me. When I'm doing this daily, this is why I'm a little bit sniffly, is because my body is regenerating in a quicker way than it ever has before. I'm embodying new frequencies in a way that I never have before. I'm getting to a point where like listening to electronic music is too harsh on my nervous system. Like and I can't drink tea anymore. Like there's certain things that like my body just is not resonating at because it actually lowers my frequency. But because I want to be here following my true authentic nature at all times, I want to be able to be an illumination, and that's what Sitara means. Samantha is good listener. It is a Hebrew name from the Bible, the female version of Samuel, which is messenger, channel of God. So for me, that's being the channel, right? Listener of God. Sitara means morning star or like bright light. And so that's what I feel like there was a shift that went from being a listener to being a beacon to being an illumination. There was something that happened in my energetic composition by identifying in a different sort of way like that. And so there's just so much excitement when you start connecting into light language. And so I have had 10 to 15 of my own clients that have started channeling light language themselves, and probably even more actually, but that have started channeling light language themselves just by listening to my channels, just by listening to me speaking it. So we can do right now, I'm more than happy to set the intention to do a let's activate light language because it is innate in all of us. Yes, light language has changed your life. I totally agree. It comes through and it just cuts through all the BS. It cuts through everything because it is a reminder of your home frequency. I genuinely believe that light language in Christian church, I think it's so funny I'm talking so much about Christianity today. I like never do that, but here we are. It's called speaking in tongues. And even then, I talked, because I have very, very Christian family who have done missions all over the place. And I was like, oh my God, you guys, this started happening. And they're like, yeah, well, there's some controversy in the church about speaking in tongues. Because the controversy is that it's connecting you to your alien self. It's really funny. It's really funny. Okay. I'm just going to follow this tangent, actually. I have some other things that I want to show you that I think are really incredible. Okay, let's go ahead. If you guys are already, say I. Raise your hand in the comments. Let me know. Full consent here. And if you're not on board and you're watching the replay, just go somewhere else. But here we go. We are going to set the intention right now to activate your light language. And so what I do want to say is don't get down on yourself if it doesn't happen immediately. It might come through in like, it might come through in like like it might come through a little bit choppy and it might not sound quite like mine, but that's because you have some clogged pipes. So the clogged pipes are going to start bringing things through. All right, Anissa says yes. We're going to need a few more yeses, my friends. So we get these pipes all cleared out. Gemma says yes. And what will start happening is you'll be able to just set the intention maybe when you wake up in the morning. All right, Megan, Lacey is all on board. Welcome, welcome. All right, so what's going to happen is that we're going to start opening these channels because we have most of us that are on here saying yes. We're going to set the intention to open these channels in a really powerful and really beautiful way. All right, Christine says yes. Beautiful. Have you guys had experiences where it's come through just a little bit? All right, Shalise is like, let's go. Let's do this, baby. Let's open our hearts. Let's activate our true, authentic nature. And this is what I believe that light language is. It is our human apparatus, right? Our human apparatus, it is our closest ability to make the sounds of source consciousness. Does that make sense? So we're using syllables and we're using tones. And this is the other thing with Sitara. Okay, seeing symbols and writing too. Okay, so this is the other thing with Sitara is that when I was saying, you know, am I really going to be going by Sitara? Can I be Sita? Sitara is a little bit hard for people to get, you know, like having those conversations. Where is that? Where does that come from? Is it your real name? It's like, yes, 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 yes. I feel that it's my real name, really. People ask, is that your real name? Well, it's not the name my parents gave me, but I feel that it's my real name. Sitara. There is a root syllable in there called, okay, Danielle, you think you did it when you were a little kid. That's very, very likely. And then the programming of the world or lack of imagination and encouragement of that will like shut it down. So we're just going to open that back up. So tar, the root of tara, is as above, so below. So as above, so below, we have the rootedness in earth. Green Tara. Tara is also an ascended master that is here with the 21 dakinis of light and illumination that are here to help guide us through. Now, I'm going to plant a seed of something that's really far off, and then we're going to do the activation. Sorry, the suspense is just building up here. My friend has given me a book, and it's a book I think called Voyagers or something like that. And I'm reading it, and I'm reading it with the possibility of like, maybe this is sci-fi, maybe it's really cool, maybe it's a cool story. I'm reading it, and there's those truth bubbles that are lighting up inside of me that's like conceptually my mind can't really make sense of it, but inside there's like these truth bubbles coming through. So what they talk about in this book is that Tara was a planet. And Tara was a planet that was evolving very quickly and that was ascending through dimensions. So there are other planets that are in other dimensions. Earth is in the third dimension, which is very, very dense, and it is made of matter. You can hear me knock on the table. That's matter. That's the electron, the neutrons that are, you know, molecules that are moving. So even what is solid isn't actually solid. That's what I mean. It's paper thin. This reality is paper thin. But we've all agreed to construct it in this way because the belief systems that happen when we're born are like, okay, there's a curtain there, there's a desk here, okay, so we know how this room is configured. Right. So Tara is this planet that is ascending in this other dimension, and this is over 500 million years ago, if you want to use time as a reference, which only really exists in the third dimension in a linear form. So could be happening right now, we want to say that. So this Tara planet is existing, and Tara is like this. So what happens is that there were beings, there were souls that were on this planet, similar to humans, but they weren't humans. They were on this planet, and they were playing with energy, and they were playing with energy, and they were learning how to manipulate energy in such a powerful way that what ended up happening, which was similar to what happened in Atlantis. Atlantis had magnets. They were playing with magnets and energy going really, 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 really fast. And then there was a grab of power. There was a greediness. There was an egoicness that came into it. And that magnetic force blasted Atlantis into the water, and there were two different opposing forces within Atlantis. There was the Sons of Baal, and there was some, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the name of it, but they split. They went to the Mayan culture, South America, and then they went to Egypt. Look it up. So, what's going on with Tara is this planet that was existing in this very, very beautiful high dimension where things were ascending. And what happened, which was with some of these energy experiments, part of the planet blew off of Tara. So it blew off of Tara, and this chunk went like just plummeting in vibrational frequency. And as it's plummeting in vibrational frequency, it's going from like fifth dimension down to the fourth, down to the third, and then it like whoom, anchors in the third. And here we are. So I only found out about this about 4 months ago, after I had been called Sitara. And so when I was negotiating with my guides, being like, can I be Sita? Can I be something else? And they were like, no, it has to be Tara, because when other people say Sitara, it actually activates a memory inside of their body. That it's not a direct thing, but it just peels away a layer of the amnesia. It peels away a layer of the amnesia, and it peels away a layer of the amnesia. So you may have heard that the frequency of Earth is not in harmony with the rest of the universe. If you listen to frequencies of all other planets, there's something really wonk about Earth. So the deal with this is, as I believe, again, you can take all this with a grain of salt, but try it on. If it feels like there's some truth happening for you, if you're like, no, she's bananas, that's fine. We'll just keep speaking light language and just keep moving on. But the thing with this is that they also said that when that chunk blew off of Tara, that there was a group of souls that they considered the lost souls, because they just blew off of this planet and ended up plummeting in frequency. And so Tara is not able to continue to ascend because she's missing a part. And then you also have Earth that chunked off of it. And now we're sitting here in the third dimension. But what happened when that happened was that the souls that were on Tara also came plummeting with Earth as it came into this space, into this frequency, this dense space of matter and energy. And so this book is saying that that was 500 million years ago. And it's very interesting because for me, it was the first time that I actually started considering that Earth wasn't the beginning of time. Isn't that crazy? Like, wow, maybe Earth wasn't the first planet in the universe. Whoa. You know what that does to your mind? It starts shifting things. Okay, let's go into activating the light language. Thanks for coming on that little journey with me. A little bit of an aside. These are things that I don't usually share with people in general, and here I am on YouTube sharing it with all of you. I love it. Thank you for journeying with me. All right, so let's go ahead, close our eyes, connect root chakra to the center of the planet. Allow yourself to just simply be released, to be in your true authentic nature. Just simply set the intention, start peeling away everything that is not you, saying, acknowledging the amnesia. The amnesia is that you have gone from being an beyond infinite, beyond powerful being, like beyond, extraordinary access to all infinite knowledge, into a teeny tiny little baby body, and you forgot who the bleep you are. So that's why light language feels like such a reminder. That's why it feels so soothing. That's why it feels so calming. That's why it feels so like hypnotic, because it's reminding you of who you were, who you are before the moment of conception. You are a powerful, multidimensional, infinite being. You are immortal. You are infinite. I go into depth in this 7 weeks to embody your higher self course, which is still available in the link tree below, in the description. Definitely check it out. If you really want to go and start anchoring this information and start exploring for yourself, I highly recommend that journey for you. Highly recommend that journey. And all you got to do is pop in the headphones and listen to the transmissions as they flow through. Boom, it'll change your life. Promise. in the best ways. Okay, so let's go ahead and set the intention and bring your awareness into your heart space. Do your best to move, shift out of your head. Feel what you're feeling, notice what you notice. Come into your feeling center, come into your feeling space. Come into the awareness of the subtle energies that are moving through you. So I'm going to set the intention first to do a bit of a healing on the fifth chakra. So this is going to open up your telepathic communication. This is also going to look at all experiences of resentment that are there. Let's go ahead and tune in a little bit more deeply to what you are holding on to as far as emotional baggage in this human field, because that's some of the stuff that clogs the pipes. So let's do a quick channel on just clearing the fifth chakra and aligning all other chakras into the highest and best spinning, openness, clarity, purification. Sutana ua putunu ua haakasa ne ia wa ututuniki itana ia wa ua pua haakana ya ia wa osa sana iku utuna haaka ua putunu ua haakapu susuna aya ia wa tu utunukai ia wa huukupu ukutakai sana ia wa huutuni ia wa aka wa pu ukutara hi ia wa ia oko tana ia ua pu si ikiti ua pu satatake ua tana ia haakapua ia sata ua tana ia wa haakapuna ia tia wa haakapu. A lot of clearing of fear of being able to speak freely and speak your full truth and mind. Suatana hi utu kupu nakai hi ikua pasana ki titiki. Utakai taniki ia wa haatatake. Utatakai iniki hia aka susunukua. Upukai anakia wa huukupu ua. Big deep breath. Feel the cells in your body tingling. Again, just simply notice what you notice. Allowing all cells to start vibrating at your absolute highest frequency. Expressing an eager readiness and also a deep surrender, allowing that which is meant to happen to flow through you without any expectation. And it's possible you may have to come back and listen to this section several times. That's okay. Be gentle, be patient with yourself. If it comes through right away, also beautiful. All right. Ona utatiki an iki asanai iku uku taokua. Asanaya uatu ukupu uku uku ututuke. Itu anakai. Itu anakai iowaka asosonai hi ikiota. Ikioa atana hi ikioa uapuata. Iatanakai itutuna kuapu ukua. Ha'aka sana iawa ututuku nuki atatiki itutukurkarkai wa puaka asasanaki ititiki iawa uapu uku ututuke iatatakai anakai I kiawa sakana iakua pua ha'aki atatakiawa uata ni iaka uapu uku ha'aka tekea ho'akanaki iotuku kupu akatakikia wa pua ha'akana ya sanai I kuapu ku utukutea itukupu utukea wa Utakai atakini kia wa haakapu susunia haakapi iupu tuku aya ayawa uataya ni iawa iatanaya wo upuku usiatiaka utanakai iku sutni ayawa pu utukaya itakataku tikinikia tukutukrikau wapu utakai Putakai, to putakai, to putakai, to putakai, to putakai, waha akatake, utakai, putaya haya wa anai ki sisia tia wa uapu uku tutuku utu unukua haakapu sasana hi ikia haakapu utu kupu sasana hi ikia wa pua susutiki Putaki ha akataku tukutukarat kutukutukatu putukarakani ha akuapua. Sususunakai, Sususunakai, kuku putu tuku putu kutkai, kutu kutu kata kutu putu kutu putu katakai, sutu tutu kupu tuku putu kutu 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 putu kata putu ka susunai hiiki putana ika ya wa hu uku apa taka takeniki ikia. Tap the top of your head a little bit. A lot of what I'm seeing right now is that for some it's happening, it's activating, but there's limiting beliefs that are going on. Limiting beliefs around your capabilities, limiting beliefs of what it is, because maybe your egoic mind doesn't understand. That's okay. Just simply tap the crown of your head. This is awakening that seventh chakra. You can also just kind of rub above your ears. If it feels right, you can also do some EFT tapping. This is really helpful. If you come back, like when you're watching the replay, you can come back and watch the beginning of this and tap through the points. So the inside of the eyebrow, side of the eyes, below the eyes, below the nose, on the chin, collarbone, like right here on this little spot right here. And then where the bra strap would be, underneath the arm, there's a little tender spot there. And then crown of the head. And so if you come back and listen to these light codes and do the tapping through it, you're also anchoring it into your physical body. So you're bringing it in and you're reminding yourself that you're here as a human being. Because the thing is with the light language and the channeling and all these other things is that the goal is not to leave our body. The goal is not to exit. The goal is to actually bring our full interdimensional infinite nature. Remember who we are inside this physical body. So beautiful. Breathe with me, and again, connect root chakra all the way down to the center of the planet and ground in the energies that you are experiencing. Feel yourself fully embodied. They're also showing me and wanting me to remind you to be patient, that what you do now, the seeds that you plant now, you'll start to see 90 days from now. So the eclipse window, the manifesting and the stuff that we did in that eclipse window is good for the next 6 months. But the actions that you take now, today, are good for the next 90 days. So you'll start seeing those seeds germinating at that point. So how's everybody feeling? Do you have any questions for me? Anything coming through? Let's take a moment to just simply hold space so that you can notice what you notice. Ionai asanai iatu ukupuana. Itu tunuki awa wha kaya niki ayawa sutuke. Tarake uapunaki haakana ka kua sutuke. Otana kapu puputuke. Anai iaka sonaki iawa okupu. Panakai ua satanaki iawaka. Yaniki. Message here is to be very gentle with yourself. Be very easy. Be very, very gentle with yourself as you are. Think of like a chick coming out of an egg. You want to be very, very, very gentle with yourself as you break out of the shell. Anaki yawapu uku anakai I tadaki ianake yawa uapuaka. Asasanaki iatanaki yawa uapu uku utunakai. Anissa, it looks like your message was retracted, so there was something that the bots picked up that was not allowed. So maybe try to rephrase it differently. Otanakai uapu tutuke anaki iasa sana iahaaka. Oapuanakai iawapu susuni iawa haaka iania iania iawa uapua haaka. Susutu apu na haaka iawa uapu niki ia sasanakai iawapu tutuke. Ianiki iawa akawapu puputuke inikia haakapu uku anapua. Akanakiawa akawapu nikiawa uapua ka aniawa. Asuanakai iawa asuanakai. Iawana akiawa uapu anaki ia haaka susuniawa. Ikwa puna ha'akapu ukua sa'ana. Ituani ia ha'akapu ukuaniki. Ia kana ai ia ha'akapu. Uanaki awapua ha'ana ia tunu uapu kua sesania. Ia terikia haya. There's a message coming through there saying we are so proud of you. For all of us that are listening to this, you have volunteered. You chose to come here during this time. You chose to experience this rite of passage of being a part of the Great Awakening on Earth. This isn't just something that is being, broadcasted on this planet. There are many different species and many different consciousnesses from all over the universe paying attention to what's going on Earth now. We are so incredibly deeply supported, so incredibly deeply guided. There is so much love for us here that we are not alone for 1 second, and for some that scares people. But the more that you lean into knowing that the beings that are here to trust, no, not a faster way to integrate. I'll talk about that in a second. But the beings that are here, the more that you learn to anchor into your value of trust, of how you can be here and be with them, you actually start to realize that the beings that were there with you at the moment that you chose to incarnate, I have actually seen these memories for myself, that there was a life presented and we were all there as orbs, glowing beings. There was a life presented that was like, who wants this one? And I said, me. I remembered saying, me, I want this. And I've had a challenging first 30 years. Super challenging. Cracked me open, and it led me to developing my gifts. That's how it usually happens. Divorce, car accident, loss of a loved one, trauma, abuse. It's how we learn how to be in and out of our bodies. So finding these things, finding these tools, finding the light language within yourself, remembering where you came from, remembering you had lifetimes on other planets. I promise you that. I promise that if you're listening to this message right now, you're here in a human body. You may not remember before the moment of conception, but you will. That's why I talk about accessing your soul memories. Your soul existed before the moment of conception, and those memories exist. They're not in your head. They're not in your head. And this is where a lot of the new age, like mindset and conscious evolution gets really stuck, because our world is so focused on mind rather than heart consciousness. But that's what we're moving into. That's what heaven on earth reality is. That's what the experience of the fifth dimension is, experiencing the heart, of broadcasting the heart, of loving the heart. The heart is not here just to love people. Your heart is your roadmap. Your heart is your golden timeline. Your heart is your accelerator. When there is pain in your heart, it is there to teach you how to move through to the other side. We get stuck on pain because the ego, the biological defense mechanism in the ego says if something hurts, don't go back to it. If something hurts, ignore it. But what's also going on this planet is that there's a lot of permission. There's a lot of encouragement to dissociate. Video games, TV, news, drinking. I mean, just look at those four and see what it does to keep humans from remembering the system that we are in is flawed and created by divine design to keep us from remembering who we are. I'm just giving you the bad news in a fun way. It is up to us. It is up to us to remember. This is why we need to use our free will to say, yes, I'm ready to speak light language. Yes, I'm ready to learn about my own intrinsic beliefs and patterns. I teach through the Metaphysical Club, my advanced level psychic development training. I've been teaching people how to develop their own abilities in my private classes and courses for over 5 years now. And the way that I was taught was that you have to know this tool and this tool and this tool and this tool, and all these tools build on so that you can learn this tool. Shenanigans. When I got out of that school, I had to do just as much deprogramming as I had to do programming to get into it. it was a solid foundation for what I needed at the time, which I was drinking heavily. I was doing a lot of drugs. I was still horribly caught in my own trauma and self-medicating and numbing just to cope with the pain that was existing in my body. And so I found my way to meditation, which ultimately was the first thing that initiated my pathway to sobriety, which I'm almost 3 years sober now in the next couple of weeks. Very exciting. It's a feat for me, which is why I hold a lot of compassion to empaths and sensitive beings who are caught in the cycle of alcoholism, because it is the easiest way to check out. It is the easiest way to numb ourselves. It is the easiest and most socially acceptable way to go completely unconscious. Yeah, Many Lives, Many Masters and Keepers of the Garden. Both of those books were in my first book club. I used to lead and run a book club. It was really amazing. I loved it. But both of those books were in it. Dolores Cannon's work at the beginning of my journey really started being such a strong resonance, and such a strong guiding light. But with that, I wanted to let you know, the 7 Weeks to Embody Your Higher Self course, I think I'm just going to rename it Embody Your Higher Self. There's a link in the link tree description below this video. Check out the link tree. I like the link tree because I can update what is new into that as it is relevant to the time. So you might be watching this video 5 years from now, which my guides are telling me that it's going to be a beautiful experience for many people. But you can click in the link tree and it will bring you into the present time offerings, the present time opportunities that are there. So the best place to start is the Embody Your Higher Self course. It's actually the prerequisite to get into the Metaphysical Club. We've had people jump into the Metaphysical Club simply because they wanted to and they could afford it. But what ended up happening several times was that they just get spun out. The other thing is that it's really best if you're sober, to be totally honest, maybe like a glass of wine here or there if you're one of those. But the thing is that smoking weed especially and drinking it brings your vibration down so low that you can do these meditations, you can listen to the light language, but it doesn't actually penetrate through. It doesn't actually fully connect in because there's a block, there's a fog, there's a haze, there's a dissociation, there's a numbingness that's there. I've seen it over and over and over and over again. And I promise I'm not coming to you from a high horse of judgment. I was a part of the weed industry in Northern California. I love the plants. I think the plants have a lot of very valuable healing benefits with CBD and all sorts of really wonderful and beautiful things. And at the same time, what it does for your mind and your psychological well-being doesn't really help the advancement. You might think it does for a little bit, but ultimately it becomes a haze, it becomes a fog. So the Embody Your Higher Self program, it's a self-study, and that one actually might help you if you're struggling with that form of clarity or you feel that you have an addiction. That actually might help you do the internal unraveling around the core wound that is encouraging you to numb in the first place. Yeah, tobacco I smoked for 14 years as well. I started very young. It is one of those things that actually for a while helped ground me. I don't anymore because now it makes my body feel really bad. It makes me sick. And so the practices in the Embody Your Higher Self course and the meditations, the transmissions, the guidance is going to help unravel these things by using a lot of light codes and light language, but it's going to remind you of the truth of who you are. The more you connect with the frequency of that being, the behaviors will just fall away. You won't even have to focus on it. You'll just realize that you don't want it anymore. And that's how I've moved through all of my addictions, and I have had many. I mean, I laugh, and thank goodness I can laugh about it now, but it was a struggle for a long time. I had a lot of trauma in early childhood. I had a sexual assault when I was 14. I had another one when I was 16. Very unpleasant. I had to numb. I couldn't talk to people about what had happened because I didn't know that I could. And I've been able to forgive myself for a lot of these things, but it was a lot of years of deep healing, and that is like the life experiences that I had led me to, one, having so much more compassion for so many other people of where you are in your journey. There's no need to judge, but there is an encouragement of awareness of what you're doing, to be more conscious of the choices that you're making for yourself. And then, of course, when you're ready, I do want to invite you into the Metaphysical Club, because it is our consistent advanced level psychic development training class that is a group container. And so we do them on Zoom, and it's a much smaller container, and we actually interact. So we get to have more in-depth conversations where you can have a lot more of your questions answered, and also be connected to a community and a group that makes you not feel so isolated or so alone. Randy, you're welcome to join. You guys, thank you so much. I love doing these lives and having these connections with you so much. It brings me so much joy. It's honestly, like, I have to do so many other things to run a digital business, like emailing and funnels and design and marketing and blah. I don't really like doing that, to be honest. I just like doing this. I just like hanging out with you guys. So the more of you that come, the more that we can connect in deeper ways, the more consistently I can offer my services in this way, because it's what feels the most right, it's what feels the most natural, and it's what feels the most divinely encouraged. So again, any and all of your support through donation. Christina, you're doing the embodiment course. I'm so happy to hear that. Yeah, I'm about to start broadcasting also to everybody that's in the Higher Self course. Now, yeah, it's not in the description of this video right now. I have to upload it after, but it is in literally every other single video. And also on my Instagram, which is at Sitara_speaks. But my plan for this month is bringing everyone that's in the Embody Your Higher Self course has the opportunity to enroll in the Metaphysical Club by January. It's an 8-week course, and I don't want you to speed it up or anything, but I want to be able to bring more people into the Metaphysical Club by January, so we'll have a special for doors open enrollment at that time. But like I said, you have to have done the Embody Your Higher Self course to be able to, like, just be on the same wavelength as us, in a way that you're going to be able to get the most out of it. And those of us that are already in the container, you know, we can just hit the ground running. Again, we've learned this by trial and error. When we have people that just join in and they haven't listened to a lot of videos, that sort of thing, they kind of, it's just not a simpatico flow. So we want to be on the same wavelength. We want to be on the same resonance so that we can move forward together. And I also want to let you guys know, this is what I'm really trying to do. I'm sure you've all heard of affiliate marketing. Affiliate marketing is where basically you give someone a link and they get a percentage for when they enroll other people. My goal is to create some circumstances within my own business that is actually helping to pay people to share the links as well, because I want to do what I can to bring abundance into the pockets of many. So the low-hanging fruit right now that I have is to be able to create affiliate links for people who are in the programs, to be able to talk about it and send it to their friends so that they can make money doing it, because I do believe in superabundance, and I do believe that I have the gifts and abilities and resources and intelligence and experience to be able to help other people make money. And so I'm at the beginning of figuring out how to do that in a way. But my goal would be able to help people make a healthy living, meaning a 5-figure a month living. And I've done that with business coaching. I've had successes with that in the past, of teaching people how to do it for themselves. And simultaneously, I know that there's a way to do it in my business. And that's what Spirit is starting to show me of how to work out. So that's what I'm really, really trying to create and cultivate for us. We need to start finding other ways of bringing in abundance and bringing in money for ourselves, because this world is really twisted in the system. And so I'm trying to create other opportunities for that for us. So just know that that's where my heart is, and doing what I can with that. If you do have an inspiration, or that you want to join in with the affiliate program now, and you have a group of people that you think might want to join that sort of thing, send me a message on Instagram. I already have some of the things set up, but like I said, I'm at the beginning of that. I want to keep it going. So just stay tuned. I'll let you guys know as it all comes through and as it's all developed and what those opportunities are. Oh yeah, the one-to-one course received an email. Yeah, go ahead, send me a message through Instagram. Instagram's the easiest way to get a hold of me. So send me a message through Instagram, and I'll ask you a few questions, see if we are aligned, and then from that moving forward, we'll get on the phone and see if we are a fit to work together, which would be divine in so many ways. Would love to do that. And that being said, yeah, if you do feel called, if you're listening to this and you do feel called to connect with me to work one-to-one, I only work with 3 people at a time. It's really in-depth work. And so I like to, yeah, keep it low and slow. And right now I actually have 2 spots open, but I also have 3 interviews this week. So let's get on the phone. My loves, I adore you. Thank you so much for joining me. I want to make sure that we keep this around an hour, and we are already there. So let's go ahead and take a couple nice big deep breaths. We'll do a closing prayer. Yo sayana ua pokua atani ia waha akapu susunaki ia wa a ho'oponopono ai tuanakai ia ka. And so as we go forth, may we integrate the healing and the lessons received with courage, self-love, and compassion. Our session here is very much complete. All right, my sweet loves, I adore you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Again, like, share, comment, tell your friends, do the things, and I will see you around again soon. The calendar for the lives that I'm doing is also in the link tree description. It's a Google Calendar, so you can see when those are, set the reminders on your phone, and join me. Keep this going, get this channel monetized, get all the things going. Woo, woo. All right, loves. I'll chat with you.